Hello everyone, welcome back to another session of Gallant Current Affairs and News Analysis. So let us look into today's news. I have 8 news with me today. The first is LIGO Observatory. It was an article, important article in the Indian Express. We have the Clean Ganga mission, India's first solar observatory that Aditya L1 is launching today at 11:50 am. You might have seen the launch. Then Mangri Orang, Pulikali, Project 17A, Kalapani and Dipulik area, the issues between Nepal and India, Moodys credit ratings. Now, LIGO Observatory. LIGO is the short form for Laser Interferometer Gravitational Waves Observatory. So, this LIGO Observatory mainly focus in the study of the gravitational, detect the gravitational waves and the study of these gravitational waves. Now, so this is expected to begin scientific runs from about 2030. Now, this specific LIGO facility is actually constructed in Hingoli district, that is in Maharashtra. It is about 450 kilometers away from east of Mumbai. So, this facility is Hingoli district. Now, this area there is a very less seismic activity. Now, if we want to detect gravitational waves and such, we should actually create this observatory facility in an area where there is no other disruptions. Example like seismic waves. So, seismic wave disruptions or earthquake or such should not actually affect this interference of this observatory. So, the Hingoli district is actually much suited. Like there was 2-3 areas in the mind for government and they finally settled on this area, and they are actually projecting about 2,100 crore for this development of this LIGO Observatory. Now we should first know what is gravitational waves and the course of development. Now, the gravitational waves is actually first postulated by Albert Einstein in his general theory of relativity, in which he stated that when there is actually movement of a celestial body, it kind of creates a ripple in the space-time. As we actually put a rock in a pond, now it creates ripple, right? Similarly, when the celestial objects move, like when there is a collision of collision of black holes or supernova creator or colliding of neutron stars, or if the neutron stars are rotating such that it actually creates ripples in the space-time, because of which there is a gravitational wave that is actually generated. That is what the general theory of relativity states. So, if you are looking first of Einstein, he states a special theory of relativity, in which he states that space and time are not independent and they are actually woven together to form space-time. The space and the time are not independent, but they are woven together to form space-time. In his general theory of relativity, he states that the space-time is not fixed. Like there is a movement of celestial bodies, so there is such case, even the earth is rotating, so there is movement of all the bodies, there is movement of suns and other planets, there is meteorites, so there is a lot of movement happening in the space. So it is not fixed, it is not transparent, but it is affected by the presence and movements of celestial body, which actually creates ripple like effect. The space curls around any object, space-time, any object in the space. Like if you are putting an orange or something, a ball in a form, the form actually curls around the object. Similarly, in outer space, the space actually curls around any of the celestial bodies covering it up. So, the space-time is actually not flat, but it is heavily distorted. So, with this theory, Einstein actually explained the gravitational force and gravitational waves that is actually present. So, if you are looking, as I have told you, this gravitational, these celestial bodies move and actually disrupt the space and time, creating ripples. Now, similarly, if you are putting a stone, the water actually create ripples. Similarly, with the collision of black holes or the neutron stars or the rotation of neutron stars, it creates ripples in the space as well. So, the gravitational waves, ripples in the fabric of space and time, which is actually caused by the moving of celestial body. Now, these areas, like the problem is that in the atmosphere we don't know majority, like in the outer space we don't know the majority of the planets or stars or other celestial bodies that is present, because majority of it is dark and it is not seenable by the naked eye or even with the telescope or something. So, such that when a celestial body is giving out some of the gravitational waves, it is possible that we could actually detect it and detect the presence of other celestial bodies, the location where it is present. Such is actually possible with the development and analysis of this gravitational waves. We can also actually tell the time, how many light years it's apart and such. It could actually tell by the development of the projects under this gravitational waves. Now, Albert Einstein actually gave this theory of general relativity theory, how there is actually gravitational wave development. He actually gave, like the instrument, he gave the name Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory. The LIGO term was actually given by Albert Einstein. The scientists have been actually able to detect all of these. So, the first gravitational wave is detected in 2015. Now, remember, this theory was given out in 1900s, 1915s and such. But the first gravitational wave, the mechanism is actually, first gravitational wave was actually detected in 2015. There is a similar LIGO facility or observatory in United States. Now, they have actually, 3 scientists have actually found the gravitational waves, and they were awarded Nobel Prize in Physics in 2017 for the findings of the gravitational wave. So, these gravitational waves, they were actually detected by the merger of 2 black holes. Now, these black holes were actually the 29 times and 36 times that times bigger that of the suns, and 1.3 billion years ago. So, this so the scientists actually found the gravitational waves created by this merger of 2 black holes. So, since then there has been a lot of development going on with this facility. So, how is this LIGO facility created? Now, in Hungoli we are creating a LIGO facility. Now, how should we actually create this LIGO facility? So, you see, the LIGO facility is actually created in an L shape. Now, it's actually 4 km in length. Each of these pipelines, or this is in 4 kilometers in length, each is 4 km in length and in L shape. A mirror is placed here. There is a mirror which is placed in both the ends of this facility. Now, a laser beam is actually projected towards this mirror. So, the light beam actually travels together. So, when a mirror is actually placed at both the ends, the light beam or the laser which actually passes will reflect and come back. So, both these reflect and come back. So, if both these actually goes in the same time, both actually release at the same time, both reflects from the mirror at the same time, and the both should actually come back to the starting point, or they should actually come and utilize at the same point here. But if there is a presence of gravitational wave, one thing happens that one section will be elongated and the other section of the light which is coming back will be contracted, which actually ensures us or shows us the presence of gravitational waves. So, that is how the facility is actually created. See here, the arm's length 4 kilometers, the light is given away, the light will go here and then come back, the light will go here and it's reflected back. Both should actually meet at the same time, but the problem is that with the presence of the gravitational waves, if there is gravitational waves, one will be elongated and the other arm will be contracted. So, that is how we actually ensure the presence of gravitational waves. So, that is what this is actually dealing about. This is actually the same from the Indian Express. Now, LIGO is actually an international network of laboratories. Now, LIGO is just not present in United States. United States have 2 such LIGO observatories. One is in Hanford and Livingston. There is also the presence of other LIGO facilities in Italy, Japan and such. Now, it is also in development phase in India. For the detectment of gravitational wave, we need multiple sources of multiple cities of this such kind of observatory, so that we could actually ensure the presence of such gravitational waves. We can actually even create a LIGO facility in space or an atmosphere, so that there is actually very little hindrance of and we can detect the gravitational waves much more easily. 4 comparable detectors needs to be operating simultaneously around the globe, then only we can actually detect the gravitational wave. So, that is what the entire article is dealing about. You should know what is gravitational waves, how it is created and what is this LIGO facility that is coming in India. So, now let us move on to another article. We have the National Mission for Clean Ganga. It is taken from the Hindu. So, as per the authors, this National Mission for Clean Ganga was rolled out 7 years ago. But still now, like, the main aim of this objective is that no untreated waste or sewage should actually enter into the water body. But in the past 7 years, only 20% or like the treatment plant is created such that they can only actually treat 20% of the sewage that is entering into the Ganga. Now the government actually states that this 20% will be increased to 33% in 2024, it will be increased to 60% in 2024, but the thing is that the author is saying that like we are making progress, but the thing is that it's very slow. It has been 7 years and we have just the capability to treat 20% of the sewage, even after rolling out much more funds and budget and more than money was allocated for the enrollment or creating of this such kind of treatment plants, but still we have achieved only 20%. So that is what the author is talking about in this article. So now these calculations are based on the 5 states through which the Ganga passes, like the Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Jharkhand, Bihar and West Bengal. So the sewage coming from these 5 states accumulated account of how much treatment or installment plans is actually needed. As I have told you, the main objective is to ensure that no untreated sewage actually enters into the flow of the river. But even if you have achieved 20%, there is considerable improvement, because you know the famous Gangatic dolphins. So the number of population of the Gangatic dolphins has actually improved. It was 2000 and now it is 4000. Also there is presence of Indian carp, which is a specific fish that is only present in fresh water. So there is also increase in the presence of fish like Indian carp, which means that we are making progress. The Ganga water is getting treated, but the problem is that it should be in a much faster phase and not the present slow phase that is going on right now. So there is the main signs of improvement are Gangatic dolphin and Indian carp. It's a fish species in India. Now let us look into the Namami Gange mission. Now it is actually compromise method determine the environmental flow of Ganga around the year to install sewage treatment facilities and take up new projects of sewage infrastructure along the pathways of Ganga in the major 5 states. The treatment of sewage and other effluents which are flowing directly into the river, the treatment of all the sewages before it actually enters the river. Now tackling, this will help us tackling in the industrial pollution also. If the sewage is actually released into the water body, you can actually see phenomena like eutrophication and such, and it reduces the oxygen level or dissolved oxygen level that is present in the water bodies. So to avoid all this, it is important that the sewage be actually treated. The promoting sanitation in the rural areas of the banks of the river Ganga, not just industries. There is also pollutants or sewage coming from the sanitation in the rural areas nearby. So it's also important that they actually address that issue as well. Then selection of some villages like Ganga Grams, which actually promote this development of sewage and infrastructural development like treatments near the Gangas. Then chemical fertilizers and pesticides should not be actually released into this without treating. Now religious refuse, you will see the Ganga is like every time the more and more of religious refuse are actually released into the Ganga. So that should also be avoided. Model cremation guts on the banks of river Ganga, then riverfront development and guts. So there are a lot that then also we know about the Chardham Yatra models and such. So these are all the kind of development that is happening along the banks of the river Ganga. So it's very important that we actually conserve not just the sewage that is coming from homes or industries, not just that, but there is a lot of pesticides, fertilized plastics and such that is actually entering the water body. It is actually affecting the marine biodiversity. So it's very important that we actually help the thriving of marine biodiversity, especially in Ganga. Now moving on, we have the India's first solar observatory. As I have told you, Aditya L1 launched today at 11:50 AM. Most of you would have seen it. Now the Aditya L1 will actually stay in the earthbound orbit for about 16 days, and it will be actually placed 1.5 million kilometers away from the earth. This 1.5 million kilometers is just 1% of the total distance that is between between earth and the sun. The total distance is about 150 million kilometer, and we are placing Aditya L1 in 1% of this 150 million kilometer, that is at 1.5 million kilometers. Now as I have told you in the previous classes, Aditya L1 will let us help understand more about the sun, its corona, its atmosphere, then the solar flares, etc. We could actually know more about the sun and its evolution. Now Mangri Orang. Now there is a very important new GS ones, you know that they are unsung heroes or fighters of the Indian freedom struggle. So Hindu or the newspapers actually give out such names, so it's important that you actually know this name. You can actually quote these as examples in your essay, you can quote this example in your ethics, in your GS1, in your history, in the modern freedom struggle and such. So it's important that you know the name and the part which the person is related to. So this Mangri Orang is a tea plantation worker in Assam. So in that time, during the British era, they actually introduced opium and liquor in the areas, which actually affected the workers and the livelihood. So she actually took a strong action and a fight against the British to stop this import of foreign liquor and opium into the areas. As a result, the British actually shot her dead in 1921. So this Mangri Orang is said to be one of the unsung heroes of India's struggle for freedom against the British rule. She is stated to be one of the first female martyrs of Indian freedom movement. So now this is very important because she is considered as the first woman martyr of the Indian freedom struggle. That is Mangri Orang from Assam. Now we have Pulikali. Now Pulikali is a famous street folk art of Kerala. So you see, the Pulikali means, Puli means the leopard or tiger, and Kali means a play. So the people actually get dressed as tiger or leopard, and this actually shows the theme of tiger hunting. The people actually, participants play the role of tiger and the hunter. Now this is actually a recreational street folk art that is performed in the Thrissur district of Kerala, and this is the theme is tiger hunting. Is placed during the 4th day of Onam celebration. Onam celebration is a very big festival in Kerala, and this Pulikali is done on the 4th day celebration of Onam. Now the performer actually paints their bodies like tigers or leopards and then dances on the streets to the beats like traditional instruments like Tatkali, Udukku, Chenda and etc. Now this was actually introduced by the Maharaja Ramavarma, the Maharaja of then Cochin. So that is what Pulikali is, a street folk art. It is from Kerala and the term is like tiger hunting. So these are some of the important things which you need to know about. There you should, like, for further reference, you can actually go and refer to other art forms that is present in Kerala like Ottam Tullal, Kalaripaitu, Kathakali, Mohiniyattam and Mudiyettu. So these are also some other folk arts, art forms that is actually present in Kerala. So you can actually go and refer to that as well. So that is what is called Pulikali. It's in Kerala. It's a recreational street folk art that is actually done in the 4th day of Onam with the theme of tiger hunting. The people actually paint their whole bodies like tiger or a leopard, and they actually fight like participants. They play the role of tiger and the hunter. Now we have project 17A. So in the project 17A, there is actually 7 stealth frigate development of 7 stealth frigates under this. So the last 7, that is the INS Mahendragiri, had been recently launched. The 17A means is also called Alpha. Now this actually launched by the Indian Navy in 2019 to construct a series of stealth guided missile frigates so that they can actually develop the Indian Navy itself. So now these are actually constructed by 2 companies, Mazagon Dock Shipbuilders and Garden Research Shipbuilders. So this project 17A is actually developed by project 17A, like majority like these 7 stealth frigates are actually developed by both these companies. So it comes along with the construction of a specific self-designed and radar absorber which actually is undetectable by the enemies. The first stealth ship that comes under the project 17A is Nilgiri. So this project 17A is also called as the Nilgiri class. So around 75% indigenous, is placed from indigenous firms and MSP, so that we are promoting Atmanirbhar Bharat also. So this is the project 17A. There are actually 7 such ships under this. First one is INS Nilgiri, INS Himgiri, Udayagiri, Dangiri, Tangiri, Taragiri, Vindhyagiri and Mahendragiri. In the last month we actually dealt about INS Vindhyagiri, which was rolled out last month, and now INS Mahendragiri has been also launched. The first ship is INS Nilgiri. So the frigate is actually a multi-role naval warship that actually serves as a fleet protector and submarine hunter. It's actually a fleet protector and submarine hunter. It has a multi-role naval warship facilities and such. So that is project 17A, and the last such stealth frigate, that is INS Mahendragiri has been also rolled out. There are 7 such projects that comes under this project 17A. Now moving on, we have the issue Kala Pani Lipu Lake area. So like you know the standard map that has been rolled out by China recently. So in that map, the 3 areas like Limpia, Dura, Kala Pani and Lipu Lake areas, which Nepal claims to be their own, has been actually attached to that of India. So these areas, Limpadura, Kala Pani, Lipu Lake, this is actually a disputed area between India and Nepal, and these areas in the Chinese map has been actually allocated to India and not that to Nepal, which actually raised a lot of issues from within Nepal. So if you are looking back, the Treaty of Sugali in 1816 with the Anglo-Nepalese war, with the failure of the Nepal in the war, Treaty of Sugali was actually signed between the British and the Nepal, under which all these areas came under the British Indian territory, and the Nepal lost all their territories. Post independence, this boundary area that was created between British and Nepal was adopted, and these areas actually came under India, and now presently it is under the Indian control. The Kali river was actually used to draw the reference, but the issue is that there is a changing course of rivers, and we don't know the boundary which the tributary of Kali was used as a boundary. India states that eastern tributary of the Kali river was used, which means that all this area will come under India. The Nepal states that the western tributary of Kali was used. Now it flows through here such, so all this area will come under Nepal. So this is actually an issue between India and Nepal. It was actually a very smaller issue, but in 2019 with the coming of like leaders like KP Oli Sharma in Nepal, he is a very pro-China leader. So because of which all these issues have been started again. This issue, it was a very small issue between India and Nepal, now it's a little bigger issue. So Lipu Lake is here, it is actually tri-junction between India, China and Nepal. It's a very strategic point with a lot of military presence, and it's also a shortcut for the Kailash Yatra and such. So all these areas are very important areas, and it is actually presently under the Indian control, but Nepal states that it is their territories. It's a very small issue, but lately it's a big issue because of leaders like KP Oli Sharma making it readjusting the boundary again and releasing new maps again, claiming all these as their boundary and their land. So that is the issue of Kala Pani Lipu Lake area. Now these areas are in Uttarakhand, it comes in India. These areas are in Uttarakhand region of India. Now the last topic for today, Moodys credit rating. So in yesterday's class we saw that India's service sector has growth rate of about 7.8% of GDP. We saw the construction, service, communication sectors, agriculture sectors and such. There is a cumulative growth of about 7.8% of the GDP has been shown. So with this growth rate, the Moodys has actually changed their previous forecast of 5.5% and changed their forecast to 6.7% as the new growth rate for the Indian economy. It was 5.5% previously. Seeing the present growth rate, Moody's credit rating has changed to about 6.7%. So what is this credit rating? Credit rating is a quantified assessment of the credit worthiness of a borrower. If you are going to a bank or something, I am borrowing money from the bank. So what they will do is check into my previous transactions. If I have actually paid back the amount, my EMI and such and all, we can actually know it by the CIBIL score and such. So similarly, credit rating actually shows the credit worthiness of the borrower. So it will actually alert the investor if they want to invest or not. If they do not return back or the borrower is not credit worthy, which means that it is very high risk for the investor and they would actually won't invest. But if you have a high credit rating, it will show the investor that this company is very good and they will invest more. It will also help us attract more FDI. It can give the investors the insight into the level of risk associated with investing in debt, particularly in a country like India. Now, what is a rating agency? This rating agency, a company which actually give out these kinds of credit rating for other companies and organization. Now, like in the global, we have actually 3 such companies. There are 3 big international companies which actually allocate credit ratings to almost 95% of the companies or global businesses. The 3 are Fitch Rating, Moody's Investor Service and Standards and Poor's. So these are the 3 big companies. Now recently Moody's have changed our rating from negative to stable. Now you see, this is actually the credit rating. So if you go below this red line, it's kind of junk, and the credit worthiness of the companies or the organizations which are actually given these kind of ratings are actually very poor, and the investments will be very less. Now India is at BA33. This is actually the rating is the lowest investment grade that is actually present in India. Now that has been changed. Now the Moodys have actually taken us from the negative and put at a stable, which we are like BA3 is good enough for India presently. Now even if it's the bottom of the investment grades, even if the lowest investment grade, we have actually entered into that category. So that was this article about. So let's look into some practice questions. Recently, scientists observed the merger of giant black hole billions of light years away from the Earth. What is the significance of this observation? Higgs boson particles were detected, gravitational waves, possibility of interglacial space travel through the wormhole. It enabled the scientists to understand singularity. So as we have studied gravitational waves today, the recent scientific observation, the merger of the giant black holes, tells us about the presence of gravitational waves were detected. What is the purpose of Evolved Laser Interferometer Space Antenna (ELISA) project? It was also to detect gravitational waves, not neutrons, not missile defense, nor the solar flares. It was actually for the detection of gravitational waves. So you can actually expect such questions from, you learn what is gravitational waves today, you learn what is LIGO today. So we can actually in the future, as it is developing, we can in the next prelims we can actually get questions like this. So that is all for today. It has been a lengthy session. Thank you. Have a nice day, and we'll be seeing again tomorrow. Thank you.